Alright, welcome to another edition of Tom's Pond. It's not really a thing. Anyway, it's just my pond. So, since last we updated, I believe it was spring cleaning, so now it is June. I have my little floating island thing that I was talking about last time, and the plants have come up. So I have some sarracenia, pitcher plant type things, so they catch bugs and whatnot. This sarracenia keeps sending up leaves, which turn into pitchers right here on the bottom, but then they just tip over. So I don't know why it keeps tipping over. I don't know if it just lacks structure down there at the bottom or what. If anyone knows, please just tell me. Maybe it needs sticks to keep it up. I don't know, but every single one that comes up, it keeps tipping over. I don't know if it's okay or whatever, but I don't know if sarracenia are supposed to do that. Anyway, but this one seems to be sending up shoots in my little what should I call it, my little sundew thing isn't doing so well, but I think it's because there's just too much nutrients in the water. The moss is doing great on the other hand, so there's all kinds of moss that's growing up here, volunteer moss, all types of random stuff. So back to what we're talking about is the pond. The pond has a lot of algae in it right now, and that is due to the fact that I believe my light bulb burned out inside my Tetra pond infrared UV light thing. So I've since ordered a new light bulb for that. So, because I turned it on and it was kind of like, wasn't what it was supposed to be, the color at least. So, anyway, but what we're working on today is just to give you a recap if you haven't seen the previous videos, the pump is down here. The pump runs water from the pond. There's a little pre-filter to keep the fish out of it. Runs water from the pond through the back here, over to the top into this container right here, which is a swirl filter. So it spins around in here, creating a vortex. Not a very strong vortex, but just a gradual vortex. And all of the large particulates build up inside of it and then fall to the bottom. This right here is a surface skimming little thing right here. So it goes up just like so, and it skims the surface of the water, right? And leaves all the particulates in the container. So that removes a lot of big chunks. At least that's the idea. So then it comes from here, just from gravity, over to this guy. And the gravity goes from here into here where I had my biological media, my chemical filtration, and everything else. And then this guy did the same thing. So it was basically a double swirl filter, for lack of a better term. So the water comes into it, swirls around, and it was spinning around my biological media, which is currently sitting in this bucket. So I noticed with the algae bloom means that my filtration is probably not as good as it could be. So I'm going to try and redo it a little bit. My idea, and again, this is amateur at best, is I'm going to put a bucket inside of here. So what this bucket is going to do, I'll leave that right just for a second. This bucket, this is going to go into the side of the bucket. So I'm going to drill a hole in this bucket, put in the side of it, and so it's going to be another surface skimmer that feeds water into the bucket. The bucket will be a more concentrated area with more water coming in, gravity fed, mind you, but basically water going into the bucket. The bucket will be then elevated to about right here, right, via this connector. This connector will then go into the bucket, so the water will essentially go into the bucket from outside of the bucket, into the bucket, out into here. So it becomes a canister filter inside of my swirl filter. Does it make sense? So it goes here, swirls around still, because why not? And then it gets sucked up into the tube here, into the bucket, which is sealed, other than the holes on the side, of course, and then exits here back into the pond. That's the idea, and hopefully it works out well. What the idea is, I really want to try and focus as much oxygenated water. And remember, oxygen gets into the water not primarily from bubbles or anywhere else. The surface tension of the water is how it really gets in there. Oxygenated water, at least. So that's where we know. That's where we want to pull it from. And we're going to surface here, break the surface tension, break the surface tension. Basically, the more you break it, the more focused the oxygen is, I hope, and then it goes into the pond. So, we'll see. If that doesn't work, oh well, I could put some bubblers into the thing. Anyway, it's more of a focused environment versus this giant swirl filter, where I think I'm losing a lot of my focused oxygen, so my bacteria isn't growing as well as it wants to. That's nitrobacter, I forget the other one. Anyway, it's the one that turns nitrite into nitrate, and the one that turns ammonia into nitrite. I just described that backwards. Anyway, so until then,